Hello, and welcome to this demo of additional validation with AOI Hub. Within the AOI Hub reporting template, we've always had validation checks, and these checks will check for any missing mandatory data, any errors in the format of data, and any inconsistencies in the file. These checks are run by clicking on the Validate button from the toolbar. This is checking all of the account data and also FI level data across the file. This case it's found 3 errors. If I click on OK, it will show me what those errors are on the error sheet with the error code and a description. Each of these errors is hyperlinked back to the source of the problem, and you can see on there the yellow cells indicate where there is an issue. I can also filter to only show the rows where there are errors. And here I can now start to fix these issues. So for example, the account code here was missing. I can see I've got another error because it's telling me there's an error count of 2. I'm going to find it easier to actually go into the account details form for this and see that the error is actually in the address details. Invalid ISO country code, I can fix that. Update. So that account is now clean. And with the second account, if I go and have a look at the errors for that, again it's in the address details because it's missing a country field. If I update that, then I believe it should now be all up to date. If I click on the Validate button again, that will rerun the validations, and that is all clear. That means there is nothing in this file that would cause the submission to fail for FATCA or CRS. What we wanted to introduce, and we added in the 2023 version of the template, is we wanted to add additional validation. Validation checks that may not necessarily indicate that the file would fail, so items that wouldn't necessarily cause a failure of the FATCA or CRS submission, but may indicate that there is an issue with the quality of data. And we've added this as an optional area. So if we go into the options screen and validation, we now have a checkbox for include additional validation checks when running validation. When you check that, it pops up an additional tab, additional validation, and within that we've got sub-tabs for different sections: general, FATCA, CRS and custom. You can choose within these which of these additional validation checks you want to run as part of the validation process. I'm just going to pick a few to show you an example. So I'm going to pick this one, where the country address does not match any of the jurisdictions of residence for the account holder. That may indicate that there's been an error with the data entry. It may be correct, may be absolutely valid, but it may indicate that there's an issue. If the account holder has no TIN, that will still submit successfully, but it indicates there's an issue with data. Not having that TIN indicates possibly an issue with the quality of data. And we have a similar check on the CRS. I'm going to click on Update so I can go with those choices, and I'm going to click on the Validate button to rerun these checks, now including the additional validation checks. That's completed, and what you now see is something slightly different from when we ran this before. We haven't got errors, but what it's identified is 4 warnings. So the key difference is an error indicates that there is something which would cause this submission to fail for FATCA or CRS. A warning wouldn't cause it to fail, but it indicates there might be a problem with the data. Similar to the errors, we provide a sheet. This time it's the warning sheet with a warning code and description of the warning. In this case, if we look at an example, the account holder is FATCA reportable, but there is no TIN, and this is hyperlinked back to the relevant cell. In this case, we use an orange color to indicate where there's warnings, compared to the yellow color, which is for errors. As we saw before with the errors, you can also filter this sheet to only show the accounts with warnings. Because warnings won't cause a submission to fail, if I were to click on the Create Reports button, it would start the process of first checking data, and it would advise me that there are warnings. There are 4 warnings. Do you wish to proceed with creating reports? So I could proceed if I wanted to, or I could say no, and I could go back and I could try and work out if those warnings are actually going to cause me a problem. That concludes this demo. We hope that you found it useful. The feature that we've been demonstrated is in the 2023 version of the template, which is available to download from our website. Take a look. If you have any questions, please do get in contact with us.